friends, today we will see the fundamental parameter of antenna. Today's topic is the input impedance and the polarization. Now what is basically the input impedance? Input impedance of an antenna is defined as the impedance presented by an antenna at its terminal, or it is the ratio of the voltage to the current at a pair of terminal, or the ratio of the appropriate component of the electric to magnetic field at the terminal. Now we are primarily interested in the input impedance at a pair of terminal, which are the input terminals of the antenna. Now in a given figure, on the next slide, in a given figure, the particular input impedance of an antenna ZA is equal to RA plus JXA, where RA is the antenna resistance and X of A is the antenna reactance. And RA is nothing but the RR plus RL. Here it's a radiation resistance and a loss resistance. So we are not connecting any load for the particular terminal, and that's why we need to be observed what is exactly the input impedance in the absence of the load. So this is the arrangement of the antenna, where the particular point A and B, the generator is connected, and a antenna is also available over there, and the radiated waves are available from the antenna itself. So transmitting antenna, in that, if you see the equivalent circuit in that, so Vg is the generator, Rg is the particular generator resistance, Xg is the particular generator reactance, RL is the loss resistance, RR is the radiation resistance, and is the reactance of the antenna. So finally, if you see the equivalent circuit of that in the closed loop manner, the current flow through the circuitry is closed loop manner Ig. So for the transmitting antenna, the current Ig can be calculated as a Vg upon Za plus Zg, with Zg is equal to Rg plus Jxg. So conjugate matching for that is the RR plus RL is equal to Rg. So why we require the conjugate pair? Because we want to observe the maximum amount of power that should be delivered from the generator to the antenna, so that the antenna can radiate the maximum radiation intensity in a free space. So for making the complex conjugate pair of that, the real term is equal to the generator resistance, that is all resistance, sum of all resistance equal to generator resistance, and the reactance of antenna is equal to the complex conjugate of the generator reactance. So this is the case to calculate the input impedance. Now the next one is the bandwidth. Bandwidth is nothing but the amount of the frequencies in which the maximum amount of the gain or the maximum amount of the power is available. So it is defined as the range of frequencies over which the performance of the antenna with respect to some characteristic conforms to a specified standard. And these particular requirement that must be satisfied by the antenna itself, and that's why the bandwidth with respect to the different parameters we need to be understand. So the first parameter is input impedance. So here input impedance should be matches properly, so that the maximum power should be delivered. Second parameter is the pattern. So what kind of pattern we are expecting from the desired antenna, that we should be understand properly. Normally we are expecting the directional pattern over there. Then the third one parameter is the beam width. So beam width we need to be observed for the directional pattern in a particular direction. Then the polarization, the amount of radiation we need to be observed and understand whether the particular signal is vertically polarized or horizontally polarized or circular polarized one. And based on that, the proper transmitter and receiving antenna selection will be available. Then the beam direction, we already mentioned the directivity of that, gain of the antenna, and particular radiation efficiency. So based on that, the performance parameter, we need to be observe the specified bandwidth for the antenna. Now the next point is that the polarization. Polarization is nothing but the orientation of the electric field component of an electromagnetic waves related to the earth surface. Now polarization is important to get the maximum performance from the antennas. There are different types of polarizations we observe depending on the existence and the changes of different electric field. Number one is called as the linear polarization. Number two is called as the circular polarization. Number three is called as the elliptical polarization. Polarization can change as the signal travel away from the source due to the magnetic field of Earth. Result is the Faraday's rotation principle, or due to the reflection. Now here the linear polarization is the change of electric field with respect to the magnetic field we need to be observant. Whereas the circular polarization, in that there are two types of circular polarization we can observe. One is called as a clockwise, that is it is moving on right-handed manner, and another one is the counterclockwise, or it is called as a anti-clockwise direction. So it is a left-handed manner. So towards the left-hand side it is rotating one. The same two types we also observe for the elliptical one, that is the clockwise and the counterclockwise. Now one by one we need to observe. So these are the linear polarization, where the electric field is upward and downward with respect to the axis, and the moment of electric field takes place upward and downward. Whereas the circular polarization, in that the electric field is either moving in a clockwise direction or the anti-clockwise direction. Similarly, the elliptical, in that also we get it the electric field clockwise or the anti-clockwise. Now linear polarization. In that linear polarization, we can observe that the vertical manner the electric field should be available, and it should be moved up and down manner with respect to the earth surface. Whereas the if it is horizontal manner, for the horizontal polarization, then E field changing in parallel with respect to the earth surface. So we can see the best example of that in a vertical polarization. The antenna will radiate the signal with respect to the ground plane, and that's why it is called as the ground propagation. Whereas horizontal polarization, in that electric field is parallel to the earth, so it is just like swimming the signal in a free space. So a transverse wave is a moving wave that consists of oscillations occurring perpendicular or right angle to the direction of energy transfer. If transverse wave is moving in the positive x direction, its oscillation are in up and down direction, that is lie in the yz plane. So this is a transverse component of that. In linear polarization, if it is a vertical manner, so you can see the green wave which is vertical manner available, and that's why the equation of that is the a sine of omega t minus beta z. Whereas here the moment of the vertical polarization takes place upward and downward. Whereas in horizontal polarization, the waves are along the horizontal manner, and it will be along the axis of this one, and that's why here the equation of horizontal polarization is that a sine of omega t minus beta plus del value. So del is nothing but probably maximum 90 degree we are taking on. So here, when for the wave only Ex component is present and Ey is 0, then this is what we called it as a in this case the wave is called as a linearly polarized in a x direction. Similarly, if for only EY component, if EZ is there, then it is called as the linearly polarized in a y directions. Now in the circular polarization, the waves are circularly polarized light consist of two perpendicular electromagnetic plane waves of equal amplitude and 90 degrees phase shift. So the orthogonal relation will be available over there. And here, along the direction of propagation, the particular fields are perpendicular to each other, and the moment takes place either clockwise direction or the anti-clockwise direction. So we will see in the next slide. So circularly polarized right. So you can see the waves here. If you observe one, it is moving one in a clockwise direction like that. It is moving one clockwise direction like that, and that's why the waves are moving in this direction. Okay, clockwise direction, and that's why right circular waves we can observe in figure 1. So here it's the equation is a sine of omega t minus beta z, whereas e of y is the a sine of omega t minus beta z plus 90 degrees. So e of x and e of y are perpendicular to each other, forming the orthogonal relation between each other. Whereas the left circular polarizations in that the waves are moving in a left hand side manner, so it is moving like that, and that's why this equation we get it over there. E of x is equal to a sine of omega t minus beta z, whereas e of y is the a sine of omega t minus beta z minus 90. So for the right circular it's a plus 90 degree, we are adding one, whereas for left circular we are subtracting the minus 90. So still here e of x and e of y should maintain the orthogonal relation. So here a circularly polarized wave as a sum of two linearly polarized component 90 degree out of phase, and finally change in phase phi will be related with the 1 by 2 plus 2 n pi. So order of pi, where n should be the 0, 1, 2, 3 for clockwise, whereas minus 1 by 2 plus 2 n pi, where n is 0, 1, 2, 3 counterclockwise. This is the arrangement of circular antenna, where the microstrip patch antenna is available, where it start radiating the particular signal in circular plane. Elliptical polarizations, where elliptical shape is available, O of A is more than the O of B, and here change in phase we can observe by the same manner. Plus 1 by 2 plus 2 n pi for clockwise, minus 1 by 2 plus 2 n pi for counterclockwise. So shape of helical antenna. So this is the case we are getting it. Major axis is along the OA direction. Similarly, we can observe the major axis along the OB directions also. Thank you.